Good morning, everyone. At the outset, I would like to welcome the principal, vice principal, my fellow teachers of the college, teaching staff, and dear students. It is such an honor and privilege to be part of this Golden Jubilee celebration of the state on this special occasion. I would like to take this opportunity also to wish you all a happy Mekaya Day. I am sure that the celebration of Golden Jubilee of the state will be one of the memorable events in history of Kasi, China, and Turkey. This is a proud moment for the people that the state has achieved this milestone. The celebration is of great importance and joy. 50 years ago, the state of Meghalaya was inaugurated by the then Prime Minister of the country, Mrs. Garrison Ground in Shillong, 21st of January 1972. So before we start, let me first read the program presentation. Chairperson, Dr. Amparna. Then we'll have welcome song by the DE students, and followed by welcome address by the principal, Dr. Sen. Then we'll have a skit by BCom and DE students, and then followed by a traditional dance by BCom first semester students. Then we'll have a song by BCom fifth semester students. Last but not least, a word of thanks by the Solita from the universities. So let me invite the DE students to perform their vocals.
Online.
small correction here. There will be no more welcome address. It will be directly a speech by the principal. Sorry for that. Thank you, students of art stream, for this wonderful song. Surely this will be a memorable song this event. So now, without any much delay, let us now go to the next program, that is an address by Madam Principal, Dr. Sen. Okay, there is a slight correction here again. Now we will have first the skit by Become and students, and then after that we will have the address by Madam Principal. So I would like to call on students of Become and BA to perform a skit.
A very good morning to our respected principal, Dr. Mrs. Sen, our vice principal, our dear beloved teachers, and yes, my greetings goes out to all of you as well who are streaming this event online. This day is an auspicious day indeed for all the people of Nepal. For today, the state turns 50, and we celebrate the golden jubilee of Nepal statehood. And in order to commemorate this blissful day, me and my friends have prepared a short skit showing just a brief look of what took place in those days. So now, without further ado, let us go on with the act. It was the mid-1950s. The Khasi, Jantia, and the Garo Hills were then a part of Assam. When the then Chief Minister of Assam, Sri P. Jantia, introduced the official language bill in 1960, declaring Assamese as the official state language, the hill areas saw a tumultuous future ahead. Subsequently, the APHLC was formed, and this proved a catalyst for launching the Hill State movement on a mass scale in the Khasi, Jantia, and Garo Hills. The slogan, "No Hill State, No Rest," became synonymous with the movement.
So, gentlemen, what is this? Are we all speak Assamese now? No, I can't let this happen. Let us stop what we think immediately.
It was in this meeting, convened by Captain Williamson A. Sumner on the 16th and 17th June 1954 at Shillong, that the idea of a hill state first took shape. The chief executive members of the 3 district councils and also the Lushai Hills, along with Reverend J.J.M. Cosroy, felt that the idea of statehood for the hill areas of Assam was viable, and the leaders decided to work towards making the stream a reality. But before to the participants, Gilbert Lingdor as Brinton Bhai Lingdor, Iraki Nombri as Sampo, and Eva Ray Xiaoping Group as Misa.
I'm happy to have you all here. I hope so. You are aware of the circumstances as to why I called this meeting?
Yes.
How can we let our people be restrained from speaking their own native language? This is unacceptable and a very violent decision ever made. We cannot let this happen. We fight for the right of our people. We must not allow them to ride roughshod over us. We must fight to preserve our racial identity and language and culture.
We can't just sit back. We have to do something about this injustice. How can we speak Somali's language when we have our own language to be proud of?
I think it is better for us to fight for our own real estate. And if the government does not comply with our request for a state, we are not going to rest. No hill state, no rest.
We must let the people know what is the difference. We cannot just listen to whatever they say. Kasi jackass and we, the girls, must fight for our own rights and to safeguard our own culture.
There was a meeting before the movement started, held at Darbar Hall, Mohar in Shillong. Jawaharlal Nehru also came to attend the meeting. There were lots of classes there who came to listen to Nehru. It was in this meeting where MacDonald Thakur spoke with Nehru, but eventually all hell broke loose. He stood up shouting and arguing with Nehru. Nehru took the rose from his buttonhole, threw it and stormed out. Hunger strikes, black flag demonstration, raising of banners and distribution of pamphlets which said, "No hill state, no rest," and separate state or direct action took form.
No rest.
No rest.
No rest.
No rest.
No rest.
No rest. No rest. No rest. Direct action. Direct action. Direct action.
That bodies like the Khasi National Darbar, the Federation of Khasi States, and the Garo National Council was instrumental in molding the minds and thought process of the people of the hills towards fighting for a separate state. Although the seeds for a separate state was planted as early as 1920s, it became more pronounced from 1947 to the 1960s. The Hill State movement took its course, and it was on 24 December 1969 that the bill was passed in both houses of the parliament, becoming the Assam Reorganization Meghalaya Act of 1969. On 29 December 1969, the bill received the assent of the president. So, after much struggle and endless months of disappointments, the fateful day arrived, where Prime Minister Indira Gandhi came to Shillong, and on 24 January 1972, Meghalaya was inaugurated as a full-fledged state to much joy and celebration. On that day, ministers are sworn in by Governor.
Would you repeat after me?
I stand in the of God.
Do solemnly affirm that
Do solemnly affirm that I will not directly or indirectly communicate or reveal to any person or persons any matter which shall be brought under my consideration or shall become known to me as a minister for the state of Meghalaya, except of my duties as such minister.
Williamson A. Sangma, the Chief Minister of Meghalaya, gives the inaugural address.
As we are on the onset of celebrating the grand official function of Meghalaya statehood, on this day, the 21st January 1972, I wish to place and record my humble gratitude to the members of the parliament, the political leaders, all the top personality, men and women, the Khasi, the judges, and the Garo community, who led from the front with head and heart, body and soul, through hard work and sacrifice, giving their time, money, and energy in the fight for statehood. I am convinced that even goodwill and even a spirit of cooperation at all sides, we can share the enjoyment with the rest of the country. Madam, once again, I thank you. I wish you good health. On behalf of the people of Meghalaya, Jai Hind.
And now we have a speech by our Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. A very good morning to all of you.
Kastab Government Pibaro,
This is a new constitutional experiment and we sincerely desire its success.
Kanikalong the Jumpersham of a Nikon, Nakalem Jungasan Sinsha, and increment of Taga.
And I am glad to hear you say that this goodwill and spirit of cooperation will continue on all sides and set an example of cooperative endeavor for the rest of the country.
As no hashipur, when you snow, of the Bakanikam Sim Kabaha, but the Mansim Kabay Trailam, and then to become Hakabai Day, Hakabakanroy Kumikaya, Maroso.
These efforts could bear the fruit because of the spirit in which you, your colleague, and your people will follow to death.
The negative Tristan Zumbi, Kanwara, you saw a ginger, Namarva, Kanigam Sim Zumbi, but Junkie Brew Zumbi, Kinwood Hado, as near.
And now I declare Meghalaya a full-fledged state.
Menta Penbenai kami Meghalaya Bakalang Kecila Bapura.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
With this, we have come to the end of our skit. But before ending our act, we would like to perform a song.
Tem que tirar minha rede, tá? Kalau kita nak yang kasih benar kalau ada yang sama.
Thank you.
Actually, that song was composed by E. Bremley during the period listed. So, was indeed a very nice song. And thank you, Become and BE students, for this wonderful song. Such an awesome skit at the same time. And we should remember that one of the exceptional characters of this was that it was purely a non-violent movement. Not even a single drop of blood was shed by the forefathers of the state during the movement. Hence, this is one of the features of the movement that people see we should know of, because it was a unique procession during the time, unique agitation. It sounds simple that we get the state of Italy. However, there was a long process during the period that the people had so many meetings, agitations, demonstrations, and then now we achieve this state of Italy, which is such a wonderful and beautiful state. We hope that we still progress from year to year. So with this, let us go to the next program. That is the traditional dance by the Comfort Sisters.
Sebreng bat ki merat ya pagi kin ut kiriat ki bajeliu ki sat ki bajrong waduh ki bajai jai rupa ki ai you know how no bin wonder you can't see you both riblat to dark asbari blat to dark aksar ribala mang terbang basandur you kasih ubuk ribla tu dak aspari bla tu dak aksar ribala mang terbang wasandur nase Stang ladihi Inyai penenya karok kari Bahkan nyai sa pateng la pateng kisi
You know, it's always nice to see the traditional dance, to watch, and this dance particularly portrays the three tribes or the three communities of the Khasi and Yangar. So thank you, become first semester students, for this wonderful traditional dance. Now let us go to the next program, that is the welcome address. No, sorry, that is the address by Madam Principal, Dr. Sardas.
A very good morning to all of you here. It is indeed a very great day for us, to be celebrating 50th years of our statehood. A beautiful hill state, a small but beautiful hill state, peaceful state with heaven's blessings on us, especially when it comes to natural beauty, the landscape, the hills, the clouds, the very name of our state Meghalaya, which means abode of clouds. Nowhere in India you will see so many different kinds of clouds. At any moment of the day, you will see different kinds of clouds. And so also, you will see different kinds of people in the state. Basically, we are a very peaceful, nature people. Our forefathers, our ancestors were very peaceful and they liked peace. And that's why probably what Dr. Lasavorki said, that this statehood was achieved in a bloodless way. Not a single drop of blood was shed. Yes, they had to fight, they had to sacrifice. Our forefathers did a lot. Our ancestors did a lot, our leaders did a lot. They are not here today to see this day, but because of them, we are seeing this day, and we are proud to be born in this state. Let me tell you, I've been so blessed to be born in this state, in this particular state and this particular place probably. Respected Chairperson, Dr. Lasavorki, Vice Principal, Dr. Sanija Kawir, Cultural Committee Convener, Ms. Ayana Kramofla, the faculty members of the History Department, who is organizing this program, Mr. Mantre, our technical head, members of the non-teaching staff, and my dear lovely students. I'm so happy to be here today. In fact, I feel so fortunate, so blessed that I could speak on this day. Never did I realize when I was in class 4 that I will be speaking for a Golden Jubilee celebration, an incident that I personally had witnessed. I was just in class 4, I remember. My father was a congressman, and ever since independence, pre-independence, and post-independence, so they were really into it, fully busy with the full state movement. My father would come back quite late at home, and we would wonder what is happening. And he had his business. He said, "Oh, go to help with business. Let us get freedom for our state." And often he would be going out for meetings. And there were times, that time I wouldn't understand what these meetings were. Class 4, for me, meetings meant, tea and snacks that were offered probably at those meetings. But and I still remember when she mentioned Mrs. Gandhi coming in Garrison Ground. Those were the days when we were young, and almost all the state functions were held in Garrison Ground. And there is that pavilion there where Mrs. Gandhi was wearing a beautiful golden dhara, a yellow dhara. I still remember it was a yellow dhara, and she was wearing the golden yellow paila. And when she declared, we as small kids, we didn't know what was happening. We were jumping and shouting and with others. Today I realize, or maybe when I grew up, I understand what it meant to get one's own state, to get a space of our own where we can flourish on our own. I'm really honored and humbled to be a part of this program, of this Golden Jubilee program, which is being organized in our college. We're celebrating the 50th year of statehood of Meghalaya. And we wish to place on record our salutations and gratitude to all the great personalities, men and women from the Khasi, Jaintia, and Garo community who led from the front with head and heart, body and soul, through hard work and sacrifice, giving their time, money, and energy in the fight for statehood. To be in one's own space, to be able to speak one's language, to be able to think in one's own language, especially intellectually. We'd also like to express our sincere obligations to those non-tribals who were empathetic towards the cause of the tribals here in Meghalaya and perhaps contributed materially and physically in whatsoever way towards attainment of the goals. Our greatest gratitude goes to those unsung heroes of 42,600 volunteers from among the Khazis, Jaintias, and the Garos during the height of the Hill State movement. These men and women and youth were from the towns of Shillong and Tura, mostly from the suburban and rural areas. Later on, the Hill State Movement volunteers were lesser in numbers, though peaceful. Although when it took the form of the full-fledged Hill State demonstration through hunger strikes, black stage, flagging hoisting the black flag as a protest, distribution of pamphlets which said, "We want full-fledged Hill State, down, down with autonomous state," echoed from the public gallery in Old Assam Legislative Assembly. However, the movement for a full-fledged Hill State was by no means less forceful. Less people, but it didn't mean it was weak. It was very strong because there was a way of fighting for our own statehood. My gratitude goes to the volunteers of full-fledged Hill State movement who spent more sleepless nights, and that's why we're sleeping peacefully, endured more hunger, that's why we are eating well today, and fasting and suffering body pain from the lathis of Assam police. I don't know how bloodless it was. People who suffered the lathis, they know how painful it is. Suffering body pain from the lathis of Assam police, and most of all who underwent imprisonment for longer days and even for 6 months both in Shillong and Guwahati jails. Staying in a jail is no mean job, especially in Guwahati. If in that hot place, it must have been so difficult for those freedom fighters who fought for us, Hill State. My heart really bleeds when I think how much they suffered for us. Now let us look into some of the historical facts. Before becoming an autonomous state, Meghalaya was ruled by the Khasi, Garo, and Jaita tribes, having their own individual kingdoms. In the 19th century, the British administration took over. They incorporated Meghalaya into Assam in 1835. The region enjoyed semi-independent status by virtue of a treaty relationship with the British Crown. When Bengal was partitioned on the 16th of October, 1905 by Lord Curzon, Meghalaya became I'm saying Meghalaya now, but that time, this place didn't really have a name. It was known as Lushai Hills or Khasi Hills or Jaita Hills in that manner. Meghalaya became a part of the new province of Eastern Bengal and Assam. However, when the partition was reversed, in 1912, Meghalaya became part of the province of Assam. On 3rd January 1921, in pursuance of Section 52A of the Government of India Act 1990, the Governor General in Council declared the area now in Meghalaya, other than the Khasi states, in quotes, backward tracks. It hurts me to hear all this. When people say people in the Northeast are backward, it hurts me. It hurts us, I'm sure. Subsequently, however, the Government of India Act 1935 regrouped the backward tracts into two categories, namely, within quotes again, excluded and partially excluded areas in place of the backward tracts. Now see how things are changing. And this is because of the pressure that was given by our people, by our tribal people. They had to change their nomenclatures. At the time of independence of the country in 1947, the present-day Meghalaya constituted 2 districts of Assam and enjoyed limited autonomy within the state of Assam. The Assam Reorganization, Meghalaya Act 1969, accorded an autonomous status to the state of Meghalaya. The act came into effect on 2nd of April 1970, and an autonomous state of Meghalaya was created within the state of Assam. The autonomous state had a legislature in accordance with the 6th schedule of the Constitution. The legislature had 37 members. In 1971, the Parliament passed the Northeastern Areas Reorganization Act, which conferred full statehood on the autonomous state of Meghalaya. The creation of Meghalaya is best expressed by Swarna Rajagopalan in her report on peace accords in Northeast India. The formation of Meghalaya began as a demand for stable hill state in Northeast, but was replaced by demands from several groups for their own states, and the All-Party Hills Leaders Conference focused its attention on the Khasi Jain and the Garo Hills, which already had autonomous councils provided by the 6th Schedule. A proposal to demand by the residents, a proposal to create a Hill Areas Committee in the 7th State Assembly quickly yielded to the demand by the residents of Khasi Jain and Garo Hills was stated for Meghalaya, and the Assamese language was adopted state-wise as a medium of instruction. You see, you cannot impose, I'm always on the news, you cannot impose your language on others. Let people flourish with their own language, because each and every language in India, especially the dialects, the culture and ethnicity, the richness of a language should not be stifled. And that was the reason when you cannot speak your own language, nothing can hurt us more. And that really gave a fervor to the movement of the state. Within the first decade of independence, the ethnic and linguistic assertion sought the reorganization of states, and the representatives of all the hill tribes of Assam met in Tura in 1954 to prepare a memorandum of the state's reorganization commission, demanding a hill state as the autonomy granted by the 6th Schedule was not real and substantial. It was only in theory. It was not, central government. I should not be quoting probably. There is always an anomaly between written, what is written and what is not written. The structure of the proposed hill state included a legislative assembly, a council of ministers, and a governor who would also be responsible for the administration of Nepal, which ultimately should be a part of the hill state. But the hill state and the residual state of Assam should have a common high court, in quotes, in quotation, common high court, so that we may still be under them. Public Service Commission, Accountant General, and the interim, Shillong as a common tact. The counter proposal from Assam was a state for the entire Eastern Himalayas, including Darjeeling, Jalpaiguri, Kuch Bihar, and Nepal, which is Arunachal now. It must be mentioned that in the early 50s, most of the legislators of the hill districts were pressing for greater autonomy for the councils and the 6th Schedule, elected chairmen for all the district councils, representations from the councils and the cabinet, limitations on the veto powers of the governor, and last but not the least, the control of Shillong municipality by the Khasi Hills Council. The wish to control Shillong was also at the root of the contest between the state of Assam and the protagonists of the Khasi assertion, especially when some parts of Shillong were named after places. Again, we don't want all things to be named after foreigners, since it belongs to us. I cannot be having a foreign name since I'm not a foreigner. This was the main idea behind, reacting to the names given to the roads and places of plains people by the hills people. In 1962, the APHLC had become a political party contesting elections and had outstanding success in all the autonomous districts except Mikir and North Kachar districts. However, discussions with PM Nehru were inconclusive, and his successor, Lal Bahadur Shastri, appointed the Pataskar Commission, whose recommendations stopped short of a separate state and were hence rejected by APHLC. By 1967, the Centre proposed a reorganization of Assam based on a federal structure, two units, one for the hills and the other for the plains, with equal status but common institutions like the High Court and the Public Service Commission, etc. However, this does not work because of the force, and we can also say because of the cunningness of the Assam Congress leadership, Bibi Chalia and Fakhruddin Aliyev, who convinced the CWC leadership, including Morarji Desai, against this dismemberment of Assam. However, a Congress-style compromise was undertaken. Everything except law and order, state highways, irrigation, power, and control of the Shillong municipality and cantonment area was transferred to the hill sub-state of Assam. The Assam legislature would have no veto power over the transferred subject. The idea of a Northeast Council under the chairmanship of the governor of Assam was also mooted at this time. And all the chief ministers of the northeastern states, Assam, Nagaland, and the new autonomous states would be members along with the chief commissioner and chief ministers of the union territories of Manipur and Tripura. But this was rejected. People of the northeast rejected union territory to be these states, for example, Manipur, Tripura, and Meghalaya to be under the union territories. And therefore, the hill state movement took a very forceful stand and it became more heated and say probably more fruitful. And finally, we got our state, we got our statehood. Now, when Mrs. Gandhi became the Prime Minister of India, she usually when we have new prime ministers in the state, in the country, they go and visit all the states. And when she came to Meghalaya, to Shillong, a beautiful place known for its nature, known for its weather, known for Cherrapunji at that time. Even now, when you go out of Shillong, when you say you are in Shillong, people don't know where Shillong is. When you say you are from Cherrapunji, and they know. When she came here, some of our tribal leaders met her and spoke it out with her. And that was the time she decided probably, and she made a decision that statehood would be given. And finally, she had to, though there were pressures from all sides in the parliament, she had to succumb to the demands of statehood, and statehood was finally given to us. And here we are today celebrating 50 years of our statehood. Those people who fought are not there, but they are in our hearts. We will always remember them as and when we think of our state, when we think of our state as a beautiful state, a free state, where you can speak your own language. Now today, since I'm talking about language, in this 50th year of our Golden Jubilee, I would request intellectuals, I would request the people in the system of affairs to develop the language. No people can survive without its language. Let things be written down. I tried to find out many things about my state, and I couldn't find much. There were not much things. So it's time that we write down. Whoever says anything. I'm talking to the students today. Please ask your parents. Please ask your grandparents who were there. So that through oral tradition, it can be recorded, and the near future generation can know about our state and our people, our culture, because it's a Khasi language, Jainta language, even Garo language, for that matter. It is still in its nascent state. It is still in its oral state, we can say, through virtual word. So if we don't speak this language, if we do not develop this language, how can we expect it to be taken out in the 8th schedule? How can it be accepted as one of the official languages? So on this 50th years of statehood, this is what I want that the language, more people should write this language and speak this language and develop it, not just let it be from where we have started. And I must thank my teachers here today, history department, also department, I can see Khasi department, I can see commerce department, I can see English department here. The teachers, you have done a wonderful job at a very short span of time, probably. And I'm really grateful to you all for making this program a grand success. The students who played who enacted the skit, it was beautiful. You almost captured the last final moments of when statehood, the excitement of getting the statehood. I think they deserve an applause. Kindly give Big applause for them. People sitting at home watching this program, please clap. Even if people think that you are mad, yes, we are mad today. We are mad today because we are happy. We are celebrating 50 years of our state. And with these few words, I thank all of you for coming and sharing this glorious day. Thank you so much. Long live Meghalaya. May our state flourish. May it go higher and higher. May we develop in all spheres of life. Thank you so much. God bless our state. God bless all.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your insightful and knowledgeable address. You have rightly pointed out that all those who were involved during the movement, they deserve a big round of applause for us and from us and from all of us. Because of them, we have achieved this wonderful state of Meghalaya. And you have also pointed out that all the people, those who involved during the creation of Meghalaya, they deserve to be remembered today, and we should thank all those volunteers who involved during the movement. And also, I don't know, maybe because I'm a student of history, so it's always a joy and happiness for me when someone shares their experience during the period, especially during the Hill State movement. Now you have already told us that you were classful during that time, so you have seen the situation, the joy and atmosphere during the period. So it's very nice to hear from you, ma'am. Always it's a pleasure. Thank you so much, ma'am, once again. So now let us go to the next program, that is the song by the Confucians.
Yapa kurib laka ime Aprim buon kitma tungin yai long ka way wala nga ngay na
Badok nginda ya urang linginte Wat long kim rao chidi Ai ba ki kun kim on yak nga Kuri chonga Nakabenta chonga Kuri ba chonga Nabenta lawi ki kena Mati ba siya'y angin pensa Kuri ba chonga Kilom kiwa kiya'y sawa Kuri ba chonga
Sim chân răng cao bàn nhanh bersahadu dunia ngin lor bat pi ko tam la gari man be Shy angin pensa Ori ba chonga Kilom kiwa kiya'y sawa Ori chonga Shy angin pensa Ori ba chonga Kilom kiwa kiya'y sawa Ori ba chonga Ori ba chonga
We would like to thank the Beacon Fifth Semester student for this unique song. Well, that was a song composed by late Neil Henry. His song Live Forever. And now, last but not the least, we'll go to the next program that is Word of Thanks by Madam Sonita Komiri, President.
Will I stand here to deliver the word of thanks? First of all, I am very thankful to God for keeping us in good health, hence we are all here today. I would like to thank the Department of History in collaboration with the Cultural Committee for organizing this program. And I can tell you, Ms. Ayuna and Sir Lasso worked very, very hard to make this iconic day, in the history of our state, a big success. Thank you, Sir Lasso and Ms. Ayuna. I express my gratitude to our principal, Dr. Sapita Sen, for the well-prepared speech. And it was very, very informative on the history of Meghalaya. We have learned a lot from what you spoke today. Thank you, students of the Khasi department, for the beautiful welcome song. And the BCom third semester students today, we have shown your other talents. With so little time to practice, you have done a wonderful job. Thank you, BCom first year students, for that lively and exhilarating dance. It made me want to jig. BCom fifth semester students, thank you so much for your wonderful song. I place on record my gratitude to our reporters, Ms. Davinlang Aim and Ms. Angela Singhania, for doing a wonderful job. I would like to say a special thank you to Sir Banker Karmalim, for always being a source of support to us. Thank you, Bahil, for this beautiful flex, which I believe is extremely beautiful and meaningful as well. And last but not the least, I would like to say a big thank you to Sir Mantri and Sir Andres for the online stream. Thank you. Happy Meghalaya Day. Let us all stay safe and stay healthy. Have a nice day. Thank you. I want to stand here. So dry.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful thanks. And we would like also to give a special thanks to you, because you have been a constant support and guidance to all of us during the preparation of this kit. Ma'am was there; she was helping us. Otherwise, this kit would not have been possible. Thank you so much, ma'am. So now the program has come to an end, and we should end this program by a round of applause for participants. Thank you.
Long live Meghalaya.